and welcome to this Fast Chat video interview with ST Engineering iDirect. I'm Paula Gilbert, the editor of Connecting Africa, and today we are going to be talking about satellite in Africa. Now, joining me is Pieter Paul Mooiman, who is the Regional Vice President for Africa for ST Engineering iDirect. So welcome, Pieter Paul. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me today.
So now, in your view, what are the recent trends that you think have been favorable for satellite cellular backhaul in the African market?
Yeah, I'll talk as well a little bit what the status of the industry in terms of due to COVID. There has been a lot of changes and it has had a major impact on the global industry, but as well in Africa, that meant a lot of more traffic requirements needed towards our customers, and specifically MNOs. For example, they had allocation of additional bandwidth by the spectrum license holders in countries to cope with the traffic. And yeah, that has meant as well a major increase in the cellular backhaul for the satellite side of the business. And next to that, there has been, besides that, at the same time, there have been a lot of investments as well, development done in high throughput satellites, increasing the efficiencies, more flexible beams, and next to the efficiency. But at the same time, we needed as well improvement on the ground segments that has as well come along at the same time. That all said, there is still a major ongoing improvements done at the moment. So it's a really interesting time frame at the moment. But all this together has brought the pricing over all of these services down dramatically, which has a very positive effect as well, again, towards the region and the satellite. So that's why I see it as really favorable as where we're going. Satellites becoming a more important and more important aspects towards the region and as well globally to provide reliable connectivity in rural areas.
Are MNOs in Africa using satellite backhaul, beyond just simple voice and data services?
Yeah, so still in Africa, it's a bit mixed still, but the majority that is already moved on towards more IP-based services, allowing to do different than only voice. But still, some countries are 2G based, where we see most of our networks will be deploying now are all 3G, 4G kind of solutions that we see in the market. That's allowing at the same time to do different applications, like video is one of things, OTT, over the top TV. You see more and more IoT involvement. You see just plain data increase, like to Facebooks and other kind of solutions that people are getting involved in the rural areas as well.
So then what data and multimedia, kind of services do you think are gaining traction the fastest?
So what we see, and that's as well, I think specifically in the OTT, there's a big expectation on expanding as it's becoming on the over top TV, as I indicated earlier, is going to be on demand kind of TV is really increasing, and even in the regional areas. Besides that, at the same time, regional content is becoming more and more important. So it's not anymore only about content out of either the US or out of other countries, out of Europe. Now people want to see the local content. So there's more local content made and distributed over the local networks.
And what kind of role do you think hybrid services are playing, in the connectivity market on the continent?
So hybrid services, and that's maybe more always blended services, because it's going to be a mixture, specifically on the technology side of it. We really see satellite, fiber, wireless, and other cellular backhaul services all need to be combined as one service. As the end customer, they don't really care. They only care about cost reductions in their costs, but as well at the same time reliable and enough throughput. So that are, I think, the major items. To reach that, we need that hybrid solutions and integrated networks. And there it will be. We are working, and certain operators are already doing that. But it is very important that we work as an industry together there to get standardizations in, to make it more accessible for everybody to get there and get a better reach.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So then what would you say are the top 3 criteria for MNOs, when selecting a ground segment provider for these kind of applications?
I would say it comes back as well to partly of these things that we discussed, but it is about efficiency, flexibility, and scalability. and then the overall costing of that for an MNO. And there are different models and different strategies being developed there and coming up into the market as we speak. But on the efficiency side, for example, just to give you some background, we need to get as much throughput out of what we have in terms of our infrastructure, and then meaning on the satellite side, so high throughput satellites, but at the same time as well on the ground segment. So we need to be very sophisticated on how we handle that and how to allocate the right bandwidth and don't have any unutilized bandwidth. And that comes as well back to your hybrid solutions and hybrid networks. And there, there's reliability as well, and a really important part. So that's what I need to look at. The other part that I need to look at is the flexibility of the platform, allowing, you see now more and more we're discussing already earlier, was about the video and other services like IoT and OTT on top of the voice, is that your network or your infrastructure need to be able to handle and cope with all these different items. It's from small networks to large networks. It's different verticals. And you see some MNOs already opening up banks, for example. They're becoming a bank instead of a standard voice for a standard MNO. So it's very interesting times. So that's for them a very important aspect to look into. And the next to that is the scalability. That comes as well really a bit related to that. As they are able to do more verticals and more areas they can focus on, more services, they need to as well be able to grow in the same aspect. And the scalability is able to operate different beams, different kind type of networks, as well from LEO, MEO, and GEO satellites. It needs to be much more flexible and scalable on that side. So that comes a bit down back to the last point, is more, they need to look at, and that's this part is, they need to be future-proof, and that's very important. From where's the platform going? Are we? Because everything, as I earlier said, standardization is becoming very important. Where we're looking very much at 5G is one of those standardizations that has been coming into the industry. Much more software-defined networks. So we will need so the satellites and the ground segments are going to be based on that technology. So are we ready for that? And that sort of things I think is really important to a customer too.
Absolutely, some great points there. Okay, well, I think that's all we have time for. Thanks very much to Peter Paul.
Okay.
It's really been your insights today.